once again, thanks for taking your time here and giving us an opportunity to speak with you in advance of your show and learn a little bit about you, and of course hear what's going on with the tour so far. But do you have a moment maybe to kind of introduce yourself to our readers and our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Quinn Sullivan. I'm a 23-year-old guitar player, singer-songwriter from New Bedford, Massachusetts. And we're on the road right now this spring, promoting my newest record, Wide Awake. And we're having a good time. We're excited to play some shows and meet some new people.
Well, that's great. That's awesome to hear. Obviously we're here in North Carolina, and definitely want to give a shout out for your show coming up here in Charlotte. But as far as your tour so far, you mentioned really kind of just getting started with it. Hopefully it's going pretty well. Any exciting happenings so far, or just having a good time being out there?
Just having a good time being out, I haven't been on a tour for a long time, actually, since last year. We did a tour across the U.S. opening for Beth Hart. So that was really cool. But this is my first time on the road consistently in a minute. So it just feels good to be back out, and it feels good to be playing again. And we're actually going to some new territories that I haven't been on my own yet. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, well, that's very cool. I definitely saw, as far as looking ahead to your schedule. Looks like you've got some fun rooms coming up here in North Carolina. So hopefully everybody shows up and shows out for you on those.
Yeah, we're excited to be back in the Carolinas, man. Yeah.
Sweet. So when talking about your show a little bit, I'm sure your set list has more than a few tracks from your most recent release, Wide Awake. But how was the making of that album kind of a step in your evolution?
I feel like that record for me is definitely a newer sound. I feel like I hadn't really been doing a lot of that stuff, like musically, on that record. Like I hadn't done a lot of that stuff in a while, so it was kind of nice to reach some new territory musically with this new record. And I had a ball making it. We made it in LA with the producer named Oliver Lieber, and we had so much fun. And we made it in about a year, in 2019, and it came out in a couple of years more than we expected, just because of COVID, and we wanted to wait a while. So we ended up putting it out last June of actually a couple of Junes ago, 2021. So it's been really well received. I feel like the reviews have been great, and I'm just happy to have new music out for people to listen to. So the shows that we're playing now, a lot of it is the new record. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, that's awesome. I know as well, just kind of reading up on your background a little bit, and really hearing about, as I mentioned, I think a word that really keeps popping up to me a lot is this word evolution. And as you have continued to evolve, you've mentioned stepping into more of a singer-songwriter role, and focusing efforts on honing your skills in those areas. Along this process, have there been any challenges that you've faced, or has it really just been something that, feels kind of natural, and it's just really, part of the process of evolving, growing up, and being a part of the world in which you're in, of musicianship and being around musicians?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have grown a ton. I started doing this at a very young age. I started playing guitar when I was 3, and I started touring pretty consistently. I was about 9. So I've been at it for a while, and I feel like naturally I've just progressed as an artist, and, I want to do a lot in my career, and I know that I have a long life ahead to do those things. But I feel like for me, it's definitely been a natural progression, and just feels like what I should be doing musically right now. I'm always a guitar player first, that's my bread and butter. But I think for me, I always want to be able to do whatever I want to be doing at the moment musically. I think it's important to grow as an artist, and it's important to not stick to one genre. And I think a lot of new artists are doing that today. I think they're mixing in a lot of different kinds of, genres, whether that's rock or pop or blues and soul. I mean, that's kind of what I try to do, is mix all of those together into one sound, and make it my own. So yeah, I mean, definitely excited to see sort of where I go musically in the next year or so.
Cool, and I can hear all that. I think your audience can definitely pick that up, especially if they take the time to really dive into what you've done with Wide Awake. And with Wide Awake being out for some time now, I can only assume that you've turned your attention to making some new music. So, how has your approach to songwriting evolved now that Wide Awake is under your belt and behind you?
Oh, it's evolving every day. I mean, I'm learning new tools and tricks every day. I kind of have the same sort of way I do it. I just come up with melodies and I write them on the guitar and I put them down in my voice notes, and then I take those ideas that I have to songwriters or other writers, and we write songs around my ideas. And that seems to be the way it's worked for me for as long as I can remember. So that's kind of the way I'm still doing it. But, I mean, I'm listening to newer stuff all the time and getting inspired by different kinds of stuff. So it always seeps into what I write musically.
Well, that's cool. What are some surprises that people might not realize? I mean, you talk about listening and pulling inspiration from music all over the map. I know for me, anyways, I'm definitely all over the map when it comes to what I appreciate. But any surprises in your playlist that would really jump out?
I don't know about surprises. I mean, I guess I tend to listen to a lot of different kinds of stuff. I mean, for me, I like a lot of like instrumental music. Like some Indian classical sometimes, or like some like some instrumental jazz. But I've been listening to a lot of this band Krungbin recently.
Oh yeah.
That I'm really, really, really into, and they've been kind of inspiring me quite a bit, just with my guitar playing, really too. But yeah, I mean, it kind of all goes back to classic rock for me. I was a big Beatles fan growing up, so that's always been, the forefront of my musical taste.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. I'm a big fan of Krungman as well, and it's been interesting to see them kind of mix things up of late. Bringing in some more world sound into their repertoire and the like. So yeah, cool, awesome to hear. What are I guess as we kind of pull it back to staying in this discussion of inspiration. Being, I guess, looking at when you first were really kind of on the scene, if you will, which it's kind of funny to hear someone, at your relative young age and talk about being on the scene, the musical scene that is, for so long. At least from my perception, it would certainly seem that your identity, here you are as a musician, is definitely tied to blues guitar. And not to say that it's changed at all, but as you have really tried to evolve with singer-songwriter and just expand what your musical offerings are, do you have any inspiration that you point to that from a singer-songwriter specifically that jumps out to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a big fan of John Mayer. He's one of my idols, and someone that I really look up to as an artist. And he also happens to be a great singer-songwriter. So
Yeah.
he's definitely one. I mean, I love a lot of different kinds of stuff. I mean, songwriters, obviously Lennon McCartney, yeah, I mean, so many different things. I mean, I'm inspired by everything. It's a lot of different kinds of stuff for me. It's always evolving, but yeah, I mean, songwriters for me, I mean, it's like, Joni Mitchell, I mean, and then that ranges to Ed Sheeran. I mean, it's all over the place.
I hear you.
For me.
That's cool. Now, when it comes to thinking back to these songs that you've been such a big part of creating, how is your relationship to performing songs that, again, have just been so much of you? Can you look to those songs? Do you feel a different relationship to the music that you have now compared to, let's say, some of the other music that you would have potentially had in the past?
Yeah, I think these songs on this most recent record are the most personal. I had the most to do with them thus far in my career. So I think naturally they just feel better to play live because they mean more to me.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they have more of a place in my life. So it's been really nice to be able to play these songs live for people, and they've been well received. I mean, I was kind of on the fence on some of the more, you know, I guess pop oriented songs, but people seem to be digging them, man. I mean, you know, I think people that have good taste know, you know, good quality music. And I think, you know, they're picking up on the fact that I'm evolving, but also, you know, keeping, you know, the spirit of the blues alive,
Right.
you know, and keeping the spirit of, you know, guitar, which I want to always do.
That's cool. It's great to hear. And I'm sure even live, you can have a lot of opportunity to really kind of add some personal touches to them, even on the fly.
Oh, absolutely. The songs are always different live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extended solos. They expect some extended solos at these shows.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah, man.
So you seemingly have always been surrounded and supported by unbelievable musicians and just music makers in general. And I can only imagine how big of an impact they've had on you along the way. What do you feel like is maybe one of the most important moments for you as you move forward and continue to grow as an artist and performer?
I think for me, it's just to always stay true to what I feel in my heart I have to do musically. Yeah, I think the minute somebody tells you what you should be doing, I think it becomes something that's not genuine and authentic. And I think for me, it's always about being authentic and being true to what I do. And also never forgetting where you come from, but also knowing that you have to evolve and be your own artist. So that's what I would say.
Great. That's awesome. So, kind of looking to, I guess, wrapping things up here. What sort of things can everybody who makes it out to your shows, what can they expect? You mentioned, of course, the extended guitar solos and the like, but give us a little preview. What can we look forward to in these upcoming shows?
I would say just a loud rock and roll show. You know, it's full electric band, you know, keys, bass, drums, myself, and we put it all out there, you know. We go out there and, you know, truly, you know, give you a rock and roll vibe.
Oh, that's great. I mean,
That's what we're doing.
Cool. Well, I'm happy to hear that.